Last weekend in
Last
March.
weekend of March.
Yep. Hello and welcome. It's Tuesday, noon. Here we are again. Hello, Marianne.
Hello, Karina.
And today we're talking about overwhelm. And Marianne just mentioned something that can be overwhelming if we don't get the notifications. When are we changing time zones? Because right now, US is one time zone and Europe is still on winter time.
Yes.
We are already in summertime, and so that changes the time difference. And okay, when are we meeting? And all of that needs to be figured out.
Yeah,
And
because when we are going live, we need to be together at the same time. That works better than when
no,
we aren't.
and I wanted to talk about overwhelm because last weekend I was at the Denver Body Mind Spirit Expo. And I got to run access bars on two young teenagers. If they were already teenagers, I have a really hard time telling age nowadays.
Yeah.
But no matter what, is I was really shocked when both of them, and one in particular, talked about being overwhelmed. Being overwhelmed from all the expectations that are put onto him. And then people basically are telling him, be it parents, be it friends, be it extended family, whoever it is, you need to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's just, and how do you deal with that? So I was really trying to give them a sense of where are they by asking them the question, what would you like?
Yeah.
I heard what the parents wanted, but what would the kids like? Nobody's asking them. And how much is that not really helpful? I mean, I remember back being told you need to do this, that, and the other. And I didn't have any choice because my parents knew better than I could ever know. I would have preferred certain things over what I was made to choose.
Yeah.
And how much is that starting to feed overwhelm? And then when we feel like we don't have a choice, we have to, because so and so is expecting from us. And that could be a person, that could be work, you know. And then we just, as a sudden, it's, oh, God, I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
This is too big. So, do you have any experiences with overwhelm, Marianne?
Yeah, in conversation I have with clients and friends, it's coming up, and also when listening to you, you mentioned it. It looks like how to say it, it's overwhelmed, but at the same time they speak also not out loud, but it looks like they can't breathe any longer. It's like you get me really by my neck, you
Mm-hmm.
pull me into something
Yeah.
that is not matching or not working, or yeah, whatever, not for me. But sitting there as I have no choice, there is no choice. They can't look to the left, they can't look to the right. It's like, here it is, and there you go. So in a way, overwhelm can have an energy of there is so much, but at the same time, that so much is also so small, so little, as though compact,
Mm-hmm.
as compressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I notice often, and it goes together also with a lot of problems in their bodies.
Yeah.
What I noticed, And it was really clear this week, as after a session, for example, they say, oh, but I feel my legs. Or it looks like, ah, I have a body.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, I was taken there also when in the kindergarten, when they first start to draw, they draw a face, and then there are two things, arms, hands
Mm-hmm.
in the top, and then downstairs. So how much more do people live from that aspect as only the head, and then going everywhere, which is the overwhelm, and at the same time so compressed that they have the sense, the feeling that they don't have any choice, that there isn't anything else possible. Also, it looks like it
Mm.
blinds
Yeah.
them. It
Yeah.
blinds them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this no possibilities, and also the sense of I I have to follow what they are telling me. I
Which
do
is,
need to do that.
yeah, which is especially true for children. No matter, as long as they're home, they more or less have to follow what the parents say. There's very few parents that give them a sense of freedom, of choice, and that allow them to select for themselves with, yes, even if it's within certain parameters, uh, there's still possibilities.
Yeah.
And I mean, I gave my kids a lot of choice, and I also made it clear drinking and drugs are not a choice. I'm coming down if they should choose that. But they never went there.
So how lucky are you? Are you?
How lucky was I? And on the other hand, how lucky were they, because they didn't have to escape into that space to deal with me. How much do we escape, or kids nowadays escape into a different world because they cannot deal with, or the world doesn't work for them that they are presented with?
Yeah, and this is beautiful that you're saying this, escaping from who or what do they escape. And I have unluckily a son who went through drugs and alcohol. He changed, he made another choice, and he's free of that. But at that time when he chose that, it was, he pulled it on himself to save his dad. And the way that see me, so that and he, my son, even we were together, but yeah, the dad of the children wasn't really that interested in his children, so kind of relationship nearly not existed. But it affected him so much
Yeah.
that he ran after his dad, after his dad, after his dad, again and again, again. Even later on, when we were divorced, he was so shouting out to his dad, and his dad drank a lot. So he
Mm.
stepped into that, as though, when I am your mate and we can sit in the
Together.
cafe and drink together, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So he took a next step and he went into the drug.
Yeah.
Although he never saw it like that. For him, I still don't know yet what it was, but that was what I perceived and I was talking to with him. So even though there nothing worked, so then the next step there was, I'm gonna live with my dad, and he did everything to go and live with his dad. And he went there, but then that wasn't there. So I need to drink more. I need more drugs. So that escaping route is really visible a lot when
Yeah.
using drugs and alcohol. So yeah, but yeah, I'm lucky also that I was always there. He knew he could
Right.
come to me. He knew also that when he was in my house, zero drug, zero alcohol. I didn't allow it because
Yeah.
it didn't work to go with all the effects of it. That
Hmm.
didn't work. But nevertheless, when he called me and asked me, Mom, can I come home? He came home and I said, and you are free because you lived out of the house. You have this age already. I don't gonna tell you as a little child what can and not can. The only thing, the only rule is no alcohol, no drugs
Yeah.
in the house because I couldn't say no drugs because
If he's not in the house,
yeah, it's not in the house. But then and then up till a time when I moved to Portugal, I was clear with him also, like, I'm your mom, but your brother and sister, nor dad nor mom. So make a choice. Make a choice what you want to do.
hmm,
That's all that I said. And that night, he called me again. He said, Mom, I want to go into the hospital, or how do they call it? To
rehab.
become clear. The yes. So we arranged that, and he became clear. So
Good.
how lucky am I? But how much more lucky is he with the choice he made there?
And how much did he choose to have his life?
That yeah, that the choice he made to not making anyone or anything
Yeah.
greater, bigger, whatever than him.
Hmm.
And he goes in his own way, in a different way with these things. Like, it looks like for his sister and his brother, then he's judgmental. But what I perceive is no, he chooses to not tap into the judgments you two have. So
Mm.
he steps out
Yeah.
because he says, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And that's completely the opposite. And yeah, I had conversations with my children about that, those other two, and they don't get it. So yeah, whatever, it's letting go. And that is also, for coming back to the overwhelm, once, because it was now tapping into again in that time, it was overwhelming. Having a son you can't help because they don't want to be helped. They don't choose it at that time. But it is overwhelming also, that energy of not having possibilities, not having a choice, which is a lie, because I had choice, and
Yeah.
luckily I chose different to go with it. So when we make choices, different choices for what works for us, does melt the overwhelm. That's my experience.
Not only that, but I think it really is also that when we choose what works for us, it also will work for everybody who's connected to us. I mean, I had to experience that. I didn't quite believe it, But when my kids were saying, "Oh, I'm going here, I'm going there," and I said, "What the heck am I doing in California? I would like to be in New Mexico." And so I moved to New Mexico. The kids helped me. And within 3 months, 4 months, my daughter moved in with me. Initially, it was just to have a place to hang out and think things through, where she wanted to go, what she wanted to do with her life. But it ended up being a year. And my son moved to college 3 hours away.
Yeah.
There they were again.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, But from that aspect, also, Karina, I can acknowledge that I went different also with parenting.
Hmm.
As when I was pregnant for my eldest son, there was one sentence that repeatedly came across my head, literally, and it was, "Your children aren't your children." So it's from a poem from where I don't know, but that one sentence, "Your children aren't your children," and I knew in that sentence as, I'm here, I give them birth, and I can be present for them, but they are independent. They are who they are. It
Yeah.
helped me so much in not being this, yeah, over the top sitting.
I mean, how much do we think we own our children?
Yeah,
They are not ours in that sense. We are there to keep them safe, to provide for them what they need, to nourish them. But it was very clear for me, uh, I need to take care that they don't kill themselves or get killed by something, but a scraped knee,
yeah,
okay, it's a learning experience.
yeah. As you see it with animals,
Yeah,
there it is also. Mom is there, dad does his job, but children grow up and they prepare really
they teach them. Yeah.
that, that, yeah. And even with this, I'm laughing because, yeah, my children were not that. Hmm, they were kind, but they were really active, as I say, active, and in school also. And then they came home, and then there was this and this and this, and I asked, okay, you say that you had a fight, that one fighted with you. So, okay, that's the one part. And the other side, what was your side? Oh, no, no. Yes, I'm interested in what was your part. Yes, but then when I mapped, gave them, slapped him, then it was the teacher saw it. So now I have to stay in school 1 hour. I said, okay, yeah. It can be that it isn't correct what happened, but finally it was your hand and you used your hand. You were aware that it was your hand who slapped the other. Who is responsible for that reaction, for that hand? And they were mad at me when I went there through. Like, yeah, you can tell anything, but look also on your reactions,
Yeah.
the way you responded.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sometimes it was, they weren't happy with the way I went with that, but
Yeah.
hey, And now tapping into that energy again of overwhelm, when we ask Earth to show us overwhelm, I start to laugh because there isn't.
There isn't. And if you really take that to the next step, the question comes, how much is overwhelm based on our decisions? If that many things happen, then I will be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The earth doesn't have those conclusions. The earth is present with what is in the moment.
So is overwhelm a judgment? A definition? A conclusion?
I would say it's a definition and an expectation. And on some level, yes, there probably is a form of judgment involved too, because we decide that at a certain point of, if X number of things are all happening and within a short period of time, then I will be overwhelmed.
Yeah, that and it can be different for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
So judgment is ruling overwhelm.
On some level, yes.
Yeah. And how many times, that's a question that comes up now, how many times is an eternity seen as an overwhelm, which in truth isn't?
That's where the definitions come in.
Yeah.
This is overwhelm if X, Y, or Z is the case.
Yeah. As we see in nature, a storm, for example, can be overwhelming. But is it overwhelming because of our point of views, what the storm can do and will do and can harm, etc., etc., where Earth, nature goes, this is required now.
Mm-hmm.
So we shut
And
out also our awareness and the question, what is required here?
that is one thing. And the earth is willing to be just present, not saying, oh, this will happen if there is this kind of storm coming, and therefore, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, as though we can create even a storm out of overwhelm.
How often do we do that?
Oh, never done that.
No,
Never done that.
never done that either.
It is an interesting energy, this overwhelm, because as though like a storm, the wind can go in every direction, but the energies of an, as called overwhelm, can go also in all directions, as it can start as some little energy, we conclude we can't deal with it. So then we gonna expand that I can't deal with it, which starts to become overwhelming. And
Yeah.
then we pull in more definitions, more judgments, and then that grows even more overwhelmed. So what is required for coming back also to those teenagers? What do they require?
From my perspective, and I've been looking at the fact that this past weekend I was by myself in setting up and taking down. I had only help during the second day of the 3 days. And I was just, okay, I have to set up. I need to do A, and then I'll do B, and then I'll do C. And it went smoothly, not a problem. There is no overwhelm. I could have gone into overwhelm. Oh God, I'm by myself. I have no helper. And it would have just been a total fiasco.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's the energy of what is required. As you say, I do A, B, C, or
And
another
then
way
I'm
around.
done.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever the steps are that I need to do, and then I'm done. Then I'm set up and I'm reversing the steps. Let's put it that way. And then I'm done with taking everything down.
and did you have the sense this weekend, particularly because yeah, we live already a year in a smaller box than ever. We are shut it out to connect with the world, what's going on. The only thing that is going on is this virus, is this pandemic, is this whatever. How much did that contribute also to blind those teenagers and believe that they have no choice? So the only way we can go with
Yeah.
it is to hear our parents, because they don't see, they aren't experience other, yeah, other ways of going with things.
I mean, the question is how much are parents, and I notice it here in the neighborhood, some are willing to have other kids over as company for their kids, and others basically keep their kids isolated because they are afraid. And I saw the same thing at the expo. Most people, compared to last fall, because I had signed up for a spring expo that was supposed to happen just after we locked down. So it got postponed and it got postponed, and it finally happened in September, late September. And even though people were there, you could perceive the anxiety.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. That. This time, there was total relaxation. Yeah, people were wearing their masks, and even some people flagrantly didn't wear any masks.
yeah.
And I just chuckled in their case, and I said, "Oh, okay, yeah." And for most people, it was just something you did, and no big deal.
Yeah, but even that, Karina, it's something. How do we, as I see here around me, also, it's making up their beds with that's required, and you do it, and really following without even questioning it, without even want to know what is the truth here, what isn't. Is it true that we don't have any other options? Aren't there really not any other possibilities? It's like, in a way, so many people even sleep more in a deep sleep and going really
Yes,
like zombies in the
yes.
mainstream. And at the other side, you see the awakened ones who chooses different, but they relax also into now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would say not wearing a mask has not probably nothing to do with being awake. I see it more as a fighting against.
Oh,
And
also
that
that.
is not necessarily bringing anything.
Yeah,
I know what's going on. I'm willing to listen to all kinds of different information. And some I say, "Mm, I think you're a little bit too far out for my taste." And yeah, okay, I can see that.
yeah,
But with others, and I'm also a member of society, and that as that I am willing to, follow the rules that everybody else is given to.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting against them because I realize, what am I creating if I fight against them? I'm not really creating anything, at least not anything positive.
Yeah, so true. But even that, going and inform yourself, reading, listening, looking up for things to become more clear about what is this about, can also really be overwhelming. And when it's overwhelming, I passed a period like that, and then I said, oh, but what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What is it, and in who and what am I perceiving also and receiving, and making it directly mine, as though that type of overwhelm I chose at that time took me farther away of really being aware and present, as, yeah, also another
And
box.
what if what we need to be present with is being present with ourselves.
Yeah, yeah,
What works for us, what doesn't work for us. I mean, I have listened to things and felt like I got agitated. My peace was leaving me. Stop.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not going any further. That is not a contribution to me,
yeah,
no matter what I might be learning. But something that is truly a contribution to me to have that knowledge will not have me lose my peace.
yeah.
It
So
will pique my interest. It will say, let me think about that, whatever. But it's not where I'm just, ugh, And so, how are we choosing for ourselves? Are we
yeah,
willing to learn to choose for ourselves? Or is everything external? Which is what we are learning as kids.
yeah. Because when being present and going with what is true for you, and in that peace,
Mm-hmm.
present, knowing that there is no overwhelm is
Yeah.
something invented. So
Overwhelm is
when,
losing your peace.
yeah, 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 and it's an invention because it's, as we say, perspectives and
Yeah.
expectations and projections and judgments. It's all in there.
Yeah.
So this time it was for me, because overwhelm is not really an energy that, yeah, that was a lot in my world during my lifetime. But the last year, more than once, I noticed it, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, it, and it transforms, as you name it, your peace, as though your peace is leaving. But no, it's not leaving you, because it can't leave you, because you are peace. But it is taking it over, because it's not being present, and it's not really choosing what is
Mm-hmm.
you, what is you.
And I have to admit that getting ready for the expo, because I was creating a flyer with upcoming classes, and so that meant I had to not only decide what do I want to facilitate, when do I want to facilitate, and make it all happen. There were moments when it felt, God, I can't deal with it. This is too much. And
Mm,
then I basically went back to the question, what do I need to deal with now? What do I need to deal with now?
yeah,
And just break it down into not from a cognitive perspective, but from an energetic perspective.
yeah,
What is necessary right now?
yeah,
I don't have to be uh, with everything. I just need to be with one class, with one thing right now. And then it's the next one, and then it's the next one. And that took the overwhelm totally out of my world.
and it worked well, with
Yeah,
ease and fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because don't we use also the overwhelm to
To
stop
slow,
us?
yeah.
Yeah,
To slow ourselves down.
yeah,
It's that, oh God, I can't do it. It's too much. Oh God, I can't do it. That's what
yeah.
fills our space. And then we can't move forward.
And that matches also the energy from the beginning when you were telling and speaking about those teenagers.
Yeah.
It's like, do they sense the stop their parents chose for themselves and then pulling everything over their children as you have to go, which is the stop?
Good question. Yeah.
Because children are aware. Children are
Yeah.
aware. And
They,
the more they were, as now, and a lot of parents go with that isolation as it's not possible to
mhm.
go there and there and there and see. So it looks like they are pulled out every, I'm going to call it information. It's not really information, but they see always the same film, always the same
Yeah.
pictures, always the same, yeah, environment, which is a small environment, which make that they are aware of so much more, but no one is facilitating them that they are aware, it's not theirs, and that there are possibilities.
Yeah. And that is a sad fact that nobody is teaching them that they are aware,
Yeah,
and that we can choose to be aware and to follow that wisp of awareness
yeah,
instead of having to think everything through and decide and
yeah.
um,
As we see now also that the depression and the suicide with those teenagers,
especially teenagers.
because yeah, it's they let take them over, but from unconsciousness.
Yeah, because
From
nobody's telling them about it.
nobody is telling them about.
Yeah.
No one.
And the little bit that in spiritual circles is talked about is not really giving them the information that they need. You know, if we talk about intuition, intuition may be there one day and it's not there the next day. And awareness is a constant. We
Yeah.
can choose to be aware. And so it's a different way of being in the world.
And I can say, Karina, for myself, I wasn't, I didn't learn about awareness and being present, and I was fucking aware. But when my children were little, because I didn't acknowledge myself in my awareness,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware, really conscious aware of what I was aware of what I was perceiving. I shutted it out. And then I had children who were really presenting me every day again. But there was the fight because I didn't get what it was that they were showing me, teaching me. So
Mm-hmm.
for several years, I stopped them because I didn't even start it. I
Mm.
turned around at that point. I was nearly dead. I created a system in my body that took me nearly to that. But that was the turning point. And it was then that I started to open up me for myself, to acknowledge more what was going on. That was the space to for my children also to let them
Yeah.
be who they were. And yeah, was there damage done? Yeah. Is it irreversible? No, because
Yeah.
they can every time they can choose. As I can turn it on my 50th, they can do it with 30 also, isn't it?
Yeah, we can choose. And, you know, being of the age, I had to chuckle. This is at some point, we need to stop blaming the being stuck with the diaper pin for any of our issues that we have.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that things shouldn't have happened. But at what point are we still blaming that instead of saying, okay, I am creating now my life?
Yeah.
I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And, you know, people do whatever they do. And their life is showing up in correspondence to what they choose.
Yeah. And I can remember also the day, it was a year or two ago. It was especially with my second son, which was an X-Man, really, really aware also. So it was complicated with him during the first, 10 years. And me telling him, like, son, I'm sorry that I made your first year so difficult because I was so stupid to not opening up for myself, to not being present with what was going on. And it was not from, oh, what did I do with you? Or it hadn't to see with that. It was really opening up and acknowledging him, letting know that I acknowledged that it was from my point of views and my refusing to be, that my acts on him were created from that space. Oh, am I back?
Yeah.
I needed to plug me in. My computer said down. So, and that conversation I had at that time opened up so much more for him, because in that second that I acknowledged myself of my behavior and from where I was choosing that, took out all of those judgments he had about him.
Yeah.
It's acknowledgement is something also that let melt overwhelm.
You know, I'm just wondering how far do we need to talk about acknowledging something next time?
Because that's an energy that creates a
Yeah.
lot. It's a really creative energy, for
Yeah.
sure.
Both
Good
for us
idea.
and others.
Yeah, good idea. Let's write down and then we can go for another time.
Yeah, I will write it down. So, because otherwise I won't remember until next.
Yeah, I know.
There's
I
too
even
many
can
other
remember.
thoughts that are crossing through, and
Yeah, and it's going so fast that even within 10 minutes I don't remember what I said.
yeah, sometimes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And that's not overwhelm. That's
No,
acknowledging that we are so fast that everything can move in every second.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Karina.
Thank you, Marianne. And until same channel, next time, same place, same time.
And in the same zone of summertime.
Now next week we are in our usual time zones, not in different time zones.
Not a different one.
Yeah.
So take
Okay.
care. We see next week.
See you
Bye-bye.
next week. Take care.